This episode is dedicated to people who have tattoos and those who have non-tattoos.
Gorgeous, baby. You're gorgeous.
This is the Josh Podcast Show, the anti-podcast podcast on God and man. The show that everybody's talking about. The show that will become a necessary part of your weekly mental diet. The show that picks up where JoshRolfe.com leaves off. The show title that uses the word podcast 4 times. Introducing your host, Josh Rolfe.
I have a theory about people who have tattoos that I would like to share with you. It might offend somewhere between 20 and 46.6% of my listening audience, but I'm going to go for it anyway. The other day, I waited for a little while in a very long line at IKEA. Usually at IKEA, they shuffle you through pretty well. But this time, I was waiting for enough time to notice something. And I should also say that when I say IKEA, I-K-E-A, it's a store. It's a Swedish-based store found in America. It's a very unusual place. It's like walking into a foreign country when you're there. Like, I feel like you should get a visa to get into the store because you're crossing into like a international zone. It's just different. And IKEA, I assume, is all caps because my phone's autocorrect when I was texting my wife that I was at IKEA, it turned capital I, lowercase K-E-A into an all caps IKEA. So that's important. Not for purposes of this episode, but just to know that when you spell the word IKEA, it has to be done in all caps, and it's not an acronym. As far as I know, it is just a weird Swedish word. So I was in line, and I counted 15 people who were waiting in the 3 available lines that were near me. I counted these like it was exactly 15. Because I noticed something very curious. 7 of the 15 in line had visible tattoos. Directly in front of me was a woman in her 40s with school-age children, and it looked like her parents. She had this tattoo on her arm. I forget what it was, and 2 tattoos caught my eye right away because of their unusual. So the one on the arm. Then there were 2 that were unusually placed in the center of each calf. So behind her legs, the back of her legs. Her back was to me, and I'm looking down at her calves, and each one had this uncanny resemblance to the Transformers logo, if you know what that looks like. It's kind of a boxy lines in a shield. It looks like a shield or what's the name of the crest? It's like a family crest from England. But it wasn't. It was more like the Transformers logo. And untrained as I am in tattooage, the Transformers logos turned out to be, as I looked at them more closely, cleverly designed butterflies. In the line of IKEA patrons heading to the register on my right, a 30-something woman with her hair up had a tattoo of at least a 6-inch tall hand flashing what I assume is the hang loose gesture behind her left ear. And I get the hang loose gesture mixed up with the I love you gesture and the satanic hand gesture. I think they might all be the same thing. Maybe I do them wrong when I do it, and I'm actually doing Satan when I mean it to be hang loose. But the whole thing would have been much cooler on the back of her head if it was animated. if it was this moving gesture with her hands. So that was to my right. To my left, I saw a man with a tattoo sleeve, and I think I've heard it called this. I don't know the proper term, but it's like an unusually colorful shirt sleeve that's painted down the entire arm, ending at the wrist, either buttoned or in French cuffs. I hear monograms are an extra $15. According to a recent Pew poll, the pollsters are Pew, which is the funniest word. Pew. How did they get away? I mean, I know it's a last name. According to this poll, the percentage of Americans under the age of 40 with tattoos is a surprising 40%. Surprising because I thought it was only 38%. A recent Harris poll says 1 out of 5 adult Americans has a tattoo, but that probably includes the old guys who have those dark, faded anchors and skulls. I think that was your only option back then. It's like, I'd like a tattoo. Will it be the anchor or the skull? And now it's on their wrinkly forearms. Tattoo tech has come such a long way since then. Even in 20 years from now, I think, my theory is, tattoos will talk back to us. And in 200 years, tattoos will take over the world. My point here is the IKEA line, therefore, doing my math of 15 divided by whatever number I saw, I did the math, it's 46.6% of the IKEA line patrons were bearing a tattoo. So that is not representative of the American population at 40%. That said, it was completely underrepresentative of the tattoo-bearing Sacramento population, possibly the highest in the developed world, making me a minority for once. This white male thing has gotten me nowhere. Anyway, I'm just stalling because I'm afraid to share my theory about people with tattoos. I really don't want to offend anybody, and if so, I would prefer to only offend 20% rather than 46.6%. And I really hope that by saying that I'm a white male, that didn't offend anyone too. So back to IKEA. Here we are, the inked and the pasty. The inked and the pasty. That would make an amazing name for a soap opera. So back to IKEA. Here we are. We're at IKEA. The tattooed and the erased. I say erased, which might also offend because it implies that there was an expensive removal treatment, but that's really not my intent. No matter what they tell you, I am no erasist. What do I call people like myself? The non-tattooed or uninked or tattooless? How about blank-skinned? All of those make it sound like I'm superior because I haven't chosen to ink myself. Those kinds of statements represent the worst kind of eracism. Back to IKEA. Again, as I looked down at my cart, I thought of the hundreds of aisles of IKEA products I had passed in that messy labyrinth of a store. Look it up on their site. 12,000 products fill the store. It's true. It has more products per square inch than my wife's purse. There's the large warehouse area with goods stacked Tower of Babel style with hard to find part numbers that you have to just get just right to put that table or Billy bookcase together or whatever it is you're purchasing. Assembly required. Thousands of household products meant to make their mark in your home. Make their mark in your home. Did you catch that? Tattoos, home products, marks, tattoos, permanents, home products, permanents, choices, statements. I stared for a moment at my only IKEA item, a frame with a silly IKEA name. I forget what it was, like Gillabagam or something. Translated, it probably means Jabberwocky or Vinnie Barbarino in English. Looking at the clock, I noticed how long it had taken me to find that frame. Somewhere over an hour. This is a frame that will go in a small corner of our home. It'll probably be there for a very short period of time until the picture fades or the kid has grown older. So 3 years, 4.5 tops. I then saw the Tattooed in lines with their overflowing bright yellow bags and wheeled pallets stacked with cardboard boxes. The Tattooed were buying tables and bookcases and items that would mark their homes for decades to come, if not longer. I looked at the frame down in my cart, and then at my skinny little pasty, naked, bare, boring little pasty, skinny, but incredibly useful left arm. At the time, I wasn't looking at my right arm. I looked at the hang loose woman and then down at calf butterfly. Total ink cost between the two, maybe $500, probably less. How much was in their carts? $500 or less. Do you see a pattern? There is no pattern. But the point is, at that exact moment, I came up with this theory, almost word for word. People with tattoos have an easier time buying things at IKEA than I do.
Thank you for listening to the Josh Podcast Show, the anti-podcast podcast on God and man. For more information, visit joshpodcast.com. Follow Josh on Twitter at Josh Rolfe. That's Rolfe, R-O-L-P as in podcast, H. Now go and have the best day and night ever. And have fun.